talk to you guys about Stargate Origins because, again, it comes back to you, the fans, and the reason why Stargate Origins is happening is because of you, the fans. All right, we're going to get to it. Now, there are very, very few characters in the Stargate universe that have held, not Stargate universe, but in the Stargate universe. Everybody's like, oh, Stargate universe. It was a good show. It was a great show. But there are very few characters that really, really grabbed us and held on to us and have been there from the beginning that we absolutely love and that has been there through the entire canon. You know, I think one comes to mind, and I'm really excited to introduce this fellow. His name is Chris Judge, otherwise known as Teal. Come on out, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, Mercedes Morgan. Grab a seat. Anywhere you want to go.
Alrighty.
She likes me.
I'm not for long.
You guys check out his pants?
Yeah. You need to go.
Yes, he does. And I missed the memo. It has captured the attention of new form in MGM Studios with a character of young Catherine. Ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Gall. You've been here over the building the fan base for the 10 years, so everyone is literally standing on your shoulders right now. No pressure.
Wow.
You are the godfather to the Stargate universe to me.
Okay, wow. You don't soft sell anything.
No, you are the man, and he is a genuine. I met this guy at Dragon Con like 10 or 11 years ago, and was as sweet to me then as he is now. So he's not letting any of the Stargate fandom get into his ego. He's just a sweet guy.
It truly is so exciting to see something that we all hold so dear continuing on, and I wanted to know, like, how does it feel to know that you may hold the key to unlocking the entire Stargate franchise? I just want to know if there's any sort of pressure with that.
No pressure at all. No one ever is like, hey, do a great job, don't mess up. But no, I mean, there's a lot of pressure, but that's because people care a lot. And, you know, it's sink if no one cared, because there wouldn't be any pressure. So I'm fine for coming. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just handing it over to Chris. Chris is taking the show.
Well, no, I was just like because like this is our first time like meeting. We were supposed to meet earlier in the week, and then our schedule set all that stuff. But like, how did you get involved in this? How did you start? Like, what brought you to?
I mean, I've always loved sci-fi a lot. It's my favorite genre because personally, I think realism can get kind of boring sometimes. And so I really love just like having new worlds and new characters. And I was brought in. I've worked with Newcomb a lot. And I pitched to MGM, and obviously they like my pitch because here we are now. Yeah.
Wait, how did you get into pitch to MGM?
Oh yeah. Just past projects. Every project leads to future projects.
And were you actually a fan of Stargate before?
Yeah, I was. There's like so much content I have to continuously watch to catch up. But definitely.
Like, which of the mythologies did you identify with the most, or which did you like? What was your favorite mythology?
Yeah, I mean, SG-1 I think is the best, but really like for this. But I mean, also like we've pulled, because there's differences between the movie and the show, and so looking at this, like looking to combine and take what's best about the canon to be able to create something that still holds true to that, but find what's best for what's new for Origins. Yeah.
Now to write this, like, did you watch every single episode of all three franchises? The answer is yes.
I did not write it. We have other writers. There's only so much time in a day. But to direct it, I mean, not only that, but like I've watched lots of different genres, because what's really important to me about Origins is like I want to make something that's new and doing it in our own style. And like, for example, like Ellie playing Catherine is, we want to go deeper into this character and see what she brings to it that we haven't seen before.
Ellie, what are you bringing to it? That's a throw to Ellie.
What about, well, as myself, as you can see. Is this working? Can you guys hear me? I'm bringing myself to it. I guess there's a lot that comes into how Catherine's gonna look. There's makeup, there's costumes. I can't really.
Yeah,
what can I give?
I mean, I guess to just kind of talk generally about the character, she's someone who just, instead of thinking of a plan of action, she just goes for it, which always creates comedy. And everyone's like, no, hold back, and she's like, no, let's go.
She's intuitive in her own way that sometimes doesn't benefit other people, but I think it's just because she thinks a little bit faster than everyone else. They can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
With her, she's fiery. She's a very fiery character, and it hasn't been explored.
I mean, also like what people love about Stargate is there's always this like witty banter that goes on, and it's funny, and so like we tried to really keep that up between her and the other characters.
Now, did you watch any of the previous portrayals of Catherine?
No. Oh, except for in the movie. In the movie, yes. The young Catherine, obviously we're kind of going, am I allowed to say how old I am?
Yes.
Well, similar age to myself. So we kind of follow on from the young Catherine in Egypt.
Yeah, 10 years later.
10 years later. So, I mean, there's not a lot that's never been explored. So for me, to watch performances of her as an adult in a world that with the Stargate, for me, Catherine doesn't know anything about that from living in Egypt. So I don't think that I didn't need to watch any of that to inform my performance, because it would give too much away about what's happening or what.
Yeah, because also like you start at a different place and you end in a different place.
Yeah.
So this is like bridging the gap. So we're creating that so that at the arc you end up.
Yeah, and she doesn't know the future, so.
Are there any funny anecdotes of Catherine Langford from Tent City you can share with the rest of us from behind the scenes? That was kind of nudged to us in the back. So I'm waiting to hear. I'm like, what's going on in Tent City?
What's going on in Tent City? Oh, what can I say about
Well,
Tent
both.
City?
I mean, this is both for you and Mercedes as well. If there's any.
You mean like the character?
Just any inside stories that you can share that will really compel people.
Yeah. Well, I think something people are calling up is like the age of Catherine's father, which has been talked about on Reddit, which we will get to. But we made him like the proper father age, and so that's been fun aging Connor up every day. But I think like as for anecdotes between you two, we can't give anything away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just.
Ellie, this is for you. Like you are Stargate's, the franchise's first female #1. I mean, truly. So I don't know if you know kind of like what some of the other sets were like. Like SG1, we were known for being a pretty loose ship. Atlantis, they took themselves a lot more seriously. What I'm getting at is the #1 really sets the tone for what the set is like. And so what is it like for you? Like how is your set? How is truly, but I mean it's true, the #1 and the director set the tone for how the set is.
Well, I think Mercedes and I think we're both pretty bubbly and happy, excitable people, and every day on set it's just been ridiculously fun and collaborative. There's such a great energy, and everyone is just so excited to be making something that they're passionate about, and everyone's really doing the best that they can. And
I mean, we got off set at 5 a.m. today. We came straight here, and so I think that just goes to show us we were firing fake machine guns at 3 a.m. in the morning. Ellie and I did that and then came here. As you can see, it's just like this is our life and this is what we do every single day, and if we're not having fun, then what's the point of it?
Yeah.
So like having a stressful environment just doesn't make sense because they're making something that is fun, and so we want that to come across. So I think everyone just treats it from like the PA to every position. It's just always laughing no matter what's going on.
Yeah, and every position, every person working on this is contributing in some way. It feels like a family on set. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes. Everywhere we go, everywhere we look, we got behind the scenes going. So you guys will see what it's like, and you'll get a feel for our last 3 weeks, pretty much. Yeah, spent more time on set than I have at my house.
Yeah.
So it's a period piece. I mean, I don't think that's a secret. What particular challenges have there been?
Oh, I mean, it's extremely challenging. Basically, we have to fit in with time period, being in a different country, and canon. And so it's cross-referencing all those things. We have all these different experts. We actually, not giving away too much, but we have like a language expert that we have to work with. And so like we're having people speak in many different languages and many different accents, and so it's cross-checking all of those things to make sure we're as accurate as possible. It's great because everyone's on the same page, but it's very intense. Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and
Ellie speaks another language partially. Yeah. Can't say anything else about that. But
yeah. It's very difficult. Like, that's all I'll say. You have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Are there going to be aliens in this? Can I ask that? Are there going to be aliens?
I'm not told if I'm allowed to say that, so can't say.
Well, the great thing is, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that one of the things that I think made Stargate kind of stand out was the sense of humor about it, and just kind of give them a little taste of, like, how does it weave its way through your origins?
I thought you were going to ask me to tell a joke.
Ellie, tell a joke.
Well, I mean, from working on Ash versus Evil Dead, I mean, I worked with Bruce,
Yeah.
so I'm sure you picked up some from him. So please, no pressure.
Some Bruce Campbell jokes.
Yeah.
Well, we had one
No, I don't
scene
think
together.
I don't think you can say any of the jokes that Bruce does.
Yeah, no, I cannot. This is funny. I think this show is really, really funny. There's been a lot of moments where, and every day you come on and you have a scene and you think you found the little comedic tick in it, and then we run it and, you know, Siobhan had something else, and then Philip had something else, and then Toner.
Yeah.
Everyone's just bringing so much to it that it just, it's funny.
I mean, also it's just like working that humor into, we have like a fight scene and we're like, okay, how do we, everyone's seen explosions, everyone's seen punch and hits, and it's just not as entertaining anymore because everyone's seen it all. So everyone's just like, okay, we see it. But if you're able to like put character into that and see like where these characters go from this point to this point and how it's funny through that, then you're able to make it new. So I think that's what's really important.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, talking about the series, what we can talk about the series, and one of the questions that's come up, especially on Reddit, why the mid form versus the long form of how you're filming
Because
of the
that's what
episodes?
people watch now. I mean, a lot of people don't have TVs in their home, and people watch Netflix and people watch things online, and also we're just in a day and age where people have shorter attention spans, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think you can have characters arc in a minute, or you can have characters arc in 10 hours. And so, like we were saying earlier, it's like if people keep watching it, it will get longer. And so I really love 10-minute segments because I just like stuff that always has a pace and energy and keeps on going. And so I think this will work well for that, and hopefully just keeps on going.
Now, for both of you, I assume this would be your first time actually being in front of Stargate fans, the Stargate family. But have you had any sort of correspondence? Have you had anybody come up and say, hey, you're doing Stargate Origins, or is this the genesis of it?
Yeah, I mean, I went to San Diego, so that was awesome, really getting to interact with cool. But also, I have people somehow find my email address all the time, which is actually awesome. Like, I really appreciate that people are really passionate. I'm not saying, like, go out there and go do that.
Mercedes Morgan at hotmail.com.
Yeah. I still use Hotmail. Yeah.
I use AOL. I got nothing to say.
Yeah, but no, it's really cool because I'll be talking to my friend in an Uber and she won't be able to say Stargate in the Uber because the driver will be like, oh, you're doing what? And so it's just like, yeah, everyone is always excited and you don't expect who is going to be a fan and who isn't. So it's always just great bumping into people. But
So
Ellie, how
what's
about
your
you?
what's your keyword instead of Stargate?
Are we allowed to?
I mean, it's funny. So when we were like drawing out some blocking on the board, we had to put a circle and write hole so that people don't know what the Stargate is because people are walking in and out of the office. Which
that's very interesting.
yeah, or just making up keywords for stuff has been. We have like a whole language of things when we try to talk about it around other people so they don't find out what we're talking about. Yeah. How about you, Ellie? Have you encountered anything?
So when I did my audition, I got a self-tape for it, and it had its, fake name, but then brackets.
Don't say the fake
No,
name.
I won't say the fake name, but in brackets it was like, Stargate. Do not call it Stargate. And I go, oh, that sounds really familiar. And I said to my roommate, oh, I just got sent this audition that I have to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it? And he goes, Stargate? Oh, I love Stargate. I grew up watching that in the UK, so that was pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, also because when we had actors audition, I had to give them like classic movie monologues because we can't just send out Stargate casting for other roles because it would be insane. But I actually had one actor guest during the audition. He's like, oh, this seems so much like Stargate. I'm like, who told you? I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, this isn't. He goes, what? And he was learning. He got one of the roles. I'm not going to say what it is, but we ended up casting him. So, yeah.
It's because he guessed, isn't it?
It's yeah, it's been really fun weaving around people knowing or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Now, was there any specific preparation that you did to play Catherine?
Preparation? I mean, there's always preparation, I guess, just trying to figure out who this character is and why they do certain things and kind of how they interact with the world and what they think about things, and obviously watching the film to kind of get an idea of what the world of Stargate could be like at her specific time in her life at the beginning, that whole relationship with her dad, what she was doing there in Egypt as a kid, and that kind of 10 years between when she first gets the necklace and they dig up the Stargate to now, like what has she been doing. So for me that was kind of what I did, and also I had not much time to prepare for this. I got offered the role on a Friday, and by the next Saturday we were shooting, so by Wednesday we were in rehearsals, and
We searched the world for Ellie.
it was a whirlwind
Yeah.
experience. So yeah, just kind of figuring out what her place is in the world was my preparation. And yeah.
And for you, like, what you said it was a worldwide.
Yeah.
Like, how daunting was that to have that extensive of a search? I mean, how many people did you see? And did she just jump out at you like this?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at a lot of different people, and I think what's great about Ellie, she's very likable. And it's just important to have someone who's like very strong and always gets what they want, and they're always like, taking something like Ellie said, like before thinking about other people, but still having that be a likable quality instead of something where you're like, oh my god, that person never stops to think. And so someone who's able to do that and is also humorous and also can play dramatic moments is very hard to find. And we found her.
I have a question. How did you picture the relationship with your character's father in your own back history? How did you put that together?
Well, like my back history is Ellie, or like in the world.
Oh no, as Captain Langford.
I think her and her dad, they have such a close relationship. There's nothing ever kind of explored about Catherine's mother at this point in her life in the story. So for me, it was just kind of what is it like to first live in a world where you don't have distractions like technology and technology, and you just live in Egypt and be so involved in work that's not your own, and what it means to look up to someone that much and how important he is to her. Like, he's really everything to her. Like, that's her idol. He's her inspiration, and yeah, that's kind of what it was for me with my dad.
And I think it's also just awesome to see people who are best friends with their parents. And I kind of see that with the Langfords. It's like,
it's a lot of respect.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect for each other, and like they're both working together and actually seeing, like, we don't see that a lot, and so I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, and with that, maybe we should bring out the young man playing your father. You guys might know him, Connor Jr.
Hi. It's nice to see Louise from Bob's Burgers and the chicken-headed person over there, and Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, and I think that might be the Flea back there.
Now, you are no stranger to the Stargate franchise.
True.
You originally were in Atlantis as
Michael.
So what's it like reprising a role and in the series, just continuing on the franchise as coming back in?
Well, I just look at it as Michael's older now. And carrying on the same storyline. No, it's interesting. I have to say that Stargate has put me in some interesting situations. One, being this hybrid wraith human guy, and now an old dude. So that's interesting. I was just talking earlier that, when you're a kid and when you become an actor, you have these situations where, like, I want to be the bad guy, I want to be the evil person, I want to be the cop, the robber, the cowboy, blah, blah, blah. On nobody's list is the old guy. So I don't have a lot of, reference for this, I've never played the old guy, just playing around, so, yeah. Thank you, Stargate, for putting me on uncomfortable waters.
Now, how did this, I want to know how this all came about, because I heard you had been cast, and I was like, well, wait a minute, wasn't he didn't he do something on Atlantis? Like, how did this, and was there any pushback, because he had already been in Atlantis?
Yeah, I mean, that's something people question, but I think it's awesome to bring people back in other roles in a franchise, because, if you're a great enough actor, you can do anything, and Connor does it all. And so when we were talking about this initially, him playing, but when people are like, okay, the whole older thing is what everyone's talking about. It's like, but I want it to be Connor because I see Connor as this role, and we're making him the character that we want him to be. And so I don't think it matters, and I think it's great that we're seeing him in this new way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so you actually auditioned?
Oh yeah, I auditioned for it. I had heard, I don't know how, I may know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, how did you?
All I knew was I had this audition for a project that mentioned nothing about Stargate, but I did know a little bit. So I did the first audition, and then when I was going back to read again, I said, Agent Greg, I was like, we do know that I did this show before, right? And they were like, oh yeah, they're cool with that. And I said, all right, and they do know that I'm not at old. They're cool with that too. They're gonna muck with the age bit. So yeah, and then I got it. There was one point though in the audition where I think I'd said something to you. You said that somebody's coming in. I'm about to spill something, and I'm not going to want to. But somebody's coming in that you're going to meet, and you're looking over at this thing, and I was like, "You mean a portal?" And she just smiled and didn't say anything. That's all right.
Yeah. Like there's this big, beautiful thing in front of you. Can't say
Like
what's about.
is it a circle?
Yeah.
It's a doorway to another dimension. Or something.
Ish.
So we're going to shine some blue watery light in your face. You're going for a ride.
Why do each of you, what do you think are some of the factors that contribute to the ongoing popularity of Stargate? This die-hard fan base that's been around for 20 years now.
No, keep talking. I'm going to fix something.
Keep going.
What? Down? Sorry?
I'll do it.
What?
So people can hear you, man.
I think it comes down always to story. And Stargate has this real luxury of infinite possibilities of fully fleshed out stories where you can enter into this fleshed out world and then have your, story influence that world, or that world influence your story, and it's really endless. And that's one of the really the great tenets, I think, in science fiction in general, is that there's really no rule to anything, and as long as you back it up and tell your truth to it, you can really do anything. And I think that put those two things together, and obviously the first cast of the TV show had a lot to do with that. Chris was a part of this. Is it the second longest running live action show in the history of television, or the first?
I don't.
First?
Is it the first?
First?
Yeah.
I mean, that's saying something.
I mean, as it is now, I think there's 15 seasons of Stargate, including the movies. Yeah. How many? 17? Thank you. Yeah. About
You don't want to get that wrong in this crowd.
That's why I go out to the experts.
Yeah. That's when you get a fan base that believes in it like that, not unlike Star Trek,
I had to throw that in there, huh?
that other job. But I think you get a committed fan base like that, and they build on top of each other, and you can kind of pass it on to the little ones and get them watching it and keep it going.
I think Connor summed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good job.
Sci-fi's awesome. You can keep going and going and going with the world, and that's why it keeps expanding. There's things to still expand upon.
I have a question for you. What about Professor? No, I'm just going to keep going to the
We're
fans.
going to keep expanding and keep
what
going.
was it about Professor Langford's character that really appealed to you? Like, what was it about him that really drew you in and wanted to be this character? And talk a little bit about the insights for his backstory that you gave to Ellie and helping with her character, if at all.
I think the opportunity to really challenge yourself in TV is rare for an actor. It happens, but it doesn't happen all that often. I get a lot of FBI, regular dad stuff, after a certain point. And I don't know that I'll ever have a shot at playing somebody who's old. At least not in front of a camera. On stage, it's a whole different deal. You can do whatever, but you walk a fine line, and that's one of the challenges that I was interested in, is that you walk a fine line when you're doing things like that. Michael would be the same situation, is that, the believability factor is you're putting yourself in some hot water, and I like to challenge myself, and I hope it works out. The only thing backstory-wise, and I don't think it helped Ellie, because I just told her about 15 minutes ago, is that, this is true, that, the idea for Langford is that he's passing this on to her before all of this stuff happens. And he's reached a point in his life where they've collaborated for so long and they've been partners, and that it's time to let her run with it, and then hilarity ensues, problems happen.
That's it. That's all that you said. Yeah, yeah. Sums it up nice. It's like, yeah, it's not just a father-daughter relationship. It's like a working relationship too.
Not in a creepy way.
Not in a creepy
Real good old time.
Good
40s
old,
way.
yeah, 1930s, just doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's throwing right back at me. So other than, I just want to make sure we have our time set because at 12:45 we have a little bit of a secret for you, but we can't show you until 12:45. So I know you guys were up working until 5 o'clock this morning. You didn't get home until 5:30. What have been some of the challenges as of late, actually hitting the deadlines for the show? Because I know you guys are held up a little bit in the past. How are things going on? What are the challenges right now?
Yeah, I mean, going out to the dunes was a really fun story because first time we scouted there, it was 120 degrees. We're like, oh my god, we're dying. We're out there for an hour. It feels like a week. We come back, we get blasted by sandstorms. Then the next time we come back, we're like, oh my god, this weather is nice. It's 90 degrees, and there's 10-mile-per-hour winds, and we go out and there's dune buggies surrounding our sets everywhere. And so when we shot this recently, we were trying not to get run over, and obviously there's no dune buggies that are supposed to be in this environment. So it's just having stuff like that happens that is out of control, even though everyone planned, they've been planning this for months, like 15-hour days, and you show up and stuff like that happens, and the minute working, we can't tell whatsoever that was ever an issue. But it's
So
just
how many
things
times
like
you said
that.
we'll just fix that dune buggy in post?
Yeah.
Or do you have to have somebody chase them to get them off the set?
Yeah, we chase them.
Is Catherine Langford just picking up her skirt and running up the field?
Oh, she's not wearing this. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Skirt.
Yeah, so it's just been things like that. It's like, that's what's fun about production, is the way I explain it to people who aren't in film is every single day we are planning a wedding. And everything has to come in place. Like, if we had to be wedding planners, we would be the best wedding planners. Because everyone has to look good, be happy, show up on time, the food has to be good, everything just has to go well, you have to like hit the right moments, and we do that every single day from month to end.
Well, let's talk about the costuming then, because this is obviously a period piece,
Yeah.
and Catherine is definitely not wearing a dress. As I was, so she's wearing pants. So to talk about the aesthetics for the costuming and like the challenges that you came across with that.
Yeah, so costuming, I mean, very interesting. Like I was saying before, we have time period plus being in a different country. And so trying to find those things at the same time, it's very hard to find references of that. And so there's certain things, there's certain uniforms, can't talk about the uniforms, but where we pulled and we were like, okay, let's look at what was done in history and be true to that, but also do what makes sense to our narrative and inventing something new. And that's what's really cool about creating these characters is I want to create people that people can dress up as, because that's when you come to places like this, you see people dressed up, and that's the best thing ever. And so, like, when I've been talking to, like, our entire looks department, we all, like, come together and we're like, how does this complement and make someone different? And you said, Ellie doesn't wear a dress, but Ellie actually starts wearing a dress in the beginning of the series, because, yeah. And the reason why is because not only was that time period accurate, but I'm tired of just seeing all these like machismo women all the time, and I like to see like a real person, and when she wears a dress in her daily life because she wants to, she does, and then when she has to go out and go on these adventures, she changes to
And then
pants.
I wear pants, you know,
and
because
so that's something
women don't wear dresses and skirts
Yeah.
all the time.
And so that was something that was like a very conscious choice of like, how do we have her change for these moments, and how does that reflect her?
I will say though, wearing, I mean, obviously I can't wear replicas of 1930s clothes the whole shoot because it's, you know, difficult to make that kind of thing. And costume kit is doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
But when we have a couple of scenes where I actually am wearing the costumes, and it is an actual, you know, piece from the 1930s, like, or late 30s, and it's restrictive. The fabric rips. It's not made to move around in.
Ellie's armpits have ripped like
They've
10
ripped
times.
so many times because women weren't made. The clothes weren't made for women to move around in. They weren't made. You know, you look pretty, you sit there and you be still. And I think that, in a way, that's where a lot of Catherine's frustration comes from. It's like, these clothes, you can't move in them. Like, you can't do anything in them. You're hot and you're bothered and you're frustrated and you're annoyed at the world in a way.
It adds. I think like
Yeah.
one of our funniest moments on set was we had this character, and he dies in this scene, and his Stuff like that.
It's cool doing period pieces like that, or be it in the future or the past, because you can do all the work you want, do the history or whatever, but there's an outside-in element to putting a costume on that you're not used to wearing, and the way it affects the way that you move, and the way that you stand, and it changes everything about you, and it's really, it's kind of a, that's not a trick, but it's one of those things you're like, oh, that's where the character is.
Yeah.
They're in my clothes.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating either. It's like, it's funny how that works.
Yeah, it's like you walk in heels and you feel good about yourself and it makes you feel confident. And same with characters, like, for example, like Professor Langford's desk, it's like props goes and places what is on his desk specific to his character. And if that's something you never see, it influences how they feel about themselves and how they know their backstory. Just going into those details. So, something super exciting. We have some BTS footage never before seen that we are going to show you guys of us on set. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Wow, cute outfit though.
Yes.
We are in our first week of production. We are in the soundstage in what we call Tent City, which is our outpost.
It's day one. We're all really, really excited.
I really can't believe that I'm here right now. I'm so excited. It's so wonderful to see everything come together.
This set is incredible.
We're setting it for the first shot of the entire thing. We're really jumping right into it.
The tent that we're shooting in is not very big, very hot in here.
We have lots of little tents with lots of big cameras and people nearly missing each other all over the place. We've been getting really interesting, unique shots and still being able to move really fast, which usually those contradict each other, but we are staying on track, which is the goal. We had stunts, and we had blood, and we had emotional moments, and I feel like we really hit all those. And at the end, it was just going and going and going and going. Cut. Great. We got it.
That's a cut. Going to lunch.
This is a lot. We're out of the tent though.
This is where the Langfords live and work. And so that's where we pick back up with Stargate 10 years later.
And camera frame.
And roll sound.
Alright. Sound speeds.
Action.
That was awesome. I love the scene when you're in the skirt and you're like trying to kick the guy in the face and your skirt doesn't let you.
Oh, it lets me.
That's amazing. So any last thoughts on that from, I think it was like the first time you saw this?
Yeah, it was the first time I saw it. I purposely avoided watching it whilst everyone else was watching it on set. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I was there for it.
She's like, I don't have to think about it. I lived it. I was there, man. That's so funny. Well, some of the things that you guys want to share about is things that you can do is Ellie, are you doing that? No, you're actually doing the director's commentary. Were you actually doing your diary
I'm
online?
doing the director's
No. I wasn't sure if you were doing any online commentary as well during the show.
I was doing it, and then shit got crazy. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it up, but it's hard when there is no time. But I'm gonna keep trying to do that.
Yeah, when you get him.
When I get him, but no, I'm gonna continue to try to post director's journals because it's been really awesome to see the feedback on it, and I think it's cool that people know what actually happens behind the scenes, which is what's cool about this video, and how conscious every choice is, and just like seeing what happens.
Yeah, and people can find that on Stargate Command. That's the other place one of the excellent places you can go to get all the behind-the-scenes information on that. Our buddy Karen over there. Hey, Karen, say hi.
Wave to Karen. So guys, I'm going to say something really quick. So they're pushing us out a little bit earlier. I want to get a selfie. So if you guys can pull in, and I will give you mine.
I will totally do this. All right, everybody, on three, we're going to say Stargate. 1, 2, 3. Stargate! And we're all like, one more time. We're going to do a big one. 1, 2, 3. 3.